Would anyone here say that God did not love the Apostle Paul? I don't think you would. And yet the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians went to God with this malady that he had. He had a thorn in the flesh. We don't know what it was. Could have been malaria. Could have been his eyes to the point that he was blind. It could have been a lot of different things. Epilepsy, all different kinds of speculation. But it was enough that Paul wrote it to the Corinthians. It was enough that he cried out to God 3 times and God came back to him. Next passage. Somebody came back from the bathroom. That's awesome. He said, no, Paul. See, healing is according to my purposes. And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. I'm going to work something in your illness. When I'm weak, then I'm strong. I'm leaning on God. I'm dependent on Him. He makes me strong spiritually. And so, Paul wasn't healed physically. Sometimes God heals the physical. Sometimes His will is for you to find His grace in weakness. Here's the thing. God has divine power, could be over your disease and heal that right now. Or can you trust in Jehovah Raphah in your disease? But in each case, Jehovah Raphah will be there. Never deny His ability to heal physically. He can do it here, right now, today. And don't be discouraged because maybe like me, you've seen those fakers. Those who are trying to create something that's not real. Never fake God's power. And then those who are denying and don't allow God to come in and work His will. Trust in Jehovah Raphah. If you're here with a physical illness today and we're going to sing a song, we're going to minister to you in a little bit. Trust in Jehovah Raphah. The other thing is Jehovah Raphah can restore emotional health. You know, not all wounds are physical. Not all wounds are physical. But yet it seems there's, again, this emphasis that we put more emphasis on the physical than we do on the emotional. Some of the very worst wounds are emotional wounds. Very deep wounds that have hurt. Maybe you're in that situation today. Maybe you have had someone who at one time said, I love you. And that person now turns around and says, I hate you. Maybe you have been in that relational situation where someone has said, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you. But now they've left. Maybe you've had a friend who's betrayed you and cut you right to the heart. Emotional wounds run very, very deep. And I can't predict a percentage, but I guarantee you there's not just 1, 2, 3, but there are dozens. They're hearing my voice right now that you have a deep emotional wound that has never been healed. And you need Jehovah Raphah to come and heal it. 147th Psalm, verse 3, should be up on the board. And it says this, He heals the brokenhearted. He binds up their wounds. By the way, which is a greater miracle? To take and to cure somebody from their physical eye, they can't see. Let's say they're blind, and Jehovah Raphah heals those blind eyes, and they can see physically, but eventually they're going to die, but they can see physically. Which is a greater miracle? That, or to take that heart that has been entrenched with a bitter root that has ruined in their lives and the lives of others? Which is a greater miracle? I'm telling you, I think the greater miracle is the work that God does within. Jehovah Raphah can heal the brokenhearted. And He binds up their wounds. I love Joni Eareckson Tada, who said this. She said, I was healed when I embraced the will of God. There are those out there maybe who are single and thinking, God won't bring me a mate. Couldn't you be single your whole life? Can God heal that? Maybe you've had a father who's not loved you. Can you allow Jehovah Raphah to heal that? When you, like Joni, embrace the will of God, you can receive that healing. And then the last thing is, there's a connection between the physical and the emotional, and really it's tied up in the spiritual. And when we're spiritually sick, it can produce a lot of emotional symptoms, physical symptoms. John chapter 4, verse 14, Jesus here talking to the woman at the well. And he talks about this living water. He says, everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give him will never thirst again. Indeed, the water I give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. Remember that wood I was telling you about? Think about before we can drink this living water in which we'll never thirst again, some wood had to come first in the form of a cross. And after the cross of Jesus Christ, that cross now is what brings this sweet, living, eternal water. You think God had a plan back there in Mara? Think about that wood that's applied to our souls as it makes us sweet. Are you sweet? Are you sour? Are you bitter? Are you filled with all kinds of poison? Oh, you need Jehovah Raphah today to come and to heal you. Apply the cross to the bitter waters of your soul. You need a heart to seek His healing and faith to accept His will. Now, I told you about Hezekiah. Let me tell you about another king, King Asa. Throw that slide up here. King Asa was full of pride. King Asa, he never honored God. King Asa got really, really sick. But he did something different than Hezekiah. And though his disease was severe, even in his illness, he did not seek help from the Lord, but only physicians. Let's get honest. When times of trouble come into your life and you're in need of healing, where is the first place you go? Before anything, where is the first place that you and I go? See, this is the sign of a sick heart, Asa. He never even considered going to Jehovah. That's the more important matter, more than his diseased feet that he had, was the heart that he had, and he didn't consider Jehovah Raphah to heal him. Man, oh man, you are sitting there today and you've been sin sick for years. Almost to the point where you're comfortable with it. And it reminds me of another story where Jesus went up to a man who had been sick all his life. And he was by the pool of Siloam, and everyone knew that when the waters were stirred, they believed the angel was there. And if you got into the pool first, you would be healed of your physical illness. And there was this guy Jesus came up to, and he had not been healed. And he asked the man, "Do you want to get well?" And the man made an excuse. He said, every time these waters are stirred, there's nobody here to put me in the water. What can I do? I thought, you got to be joking me. How many years you been coming to this thing? I tell you, if it had been me, and here's the edge of the pool, I said, lay me on the edge of the pool. As soon as those waters are stirred, baby, I'm rolling in, But he didn't want to get healed. And there are many in here today, you become so comfortable with your dysfunction that it's become your friend. And now if you were to be healed, whether it's physically or emotionally or spiritually, now you've got to be responsible for yourself. Oh, there's a wonderful gift waiting for you.